였다니까? 나 진짜
Is it true there was an unexpected moment that left ARMY both silent and moved? That is what happened when Taehyung and Jungkook appeared together in a live broadcast on Weverse recently. An unforeseen emotional drama emerged from Jungkook's deep concern for Taehyung's condition, especially after the incident at the Dodgers Stadium event, where Taehyung's hand briefly appeared to be injured when throwing the first pitch. Questions immediately arose among fans. What actually happened, and why did Jungkook seem so worried? This moment seemed to reveal another side of their relationship that has always been the focus of ARMY's attention. In the broadcast, the camera not only captured their jokes and laughter, but also Jungkook's serious expression that at times seemed to observe Taehyung with full attention. For many fans, that gesture was not mere coincidence, but a real reflection of the care of a colleague who understands his friend's condition amid very intense public scrutiny. The incident at Dodgers Stadium became the starting point of this concern. When throwing the ceremonial pitch, Taehyung was seen holding his wrist with an expression that briefly showed pain. Although he tried to remain professional in front of the camera, those seconds did not escape ARMY's eyes, who always carefully pay attention to every detail. That small signal has now returned as a topic of discussion after Jungkook seemed so serious talking about Taehyung's condition during the Weverse broadcast. The live broadcast that was initially filled with laughter turned into an emotional moment when Jungkook, in a tone full of concern, touched on Taehyung's condition. Although he did not explicitly mention the word injury, his tone of voice and facial expression were enough to show how much he was thinking about his friend's condition. Many fans assessed that Jungkook's attitude reflected high sensitivity as well as his sense of responsibility as a groupmate who wants to ensure Taehyung's health remains protected. Not a few ARMY admitted they melted seeing this interaction. For them, the Taehyung drama in the Weverse broadcast was not mere entertainment, but concrete proof of how strong the bond of friendship forged behind the stage is. When millions of eyes focus only on performance, Jungkook instead showed personal concern that made the interaction feel so authentic. Fans' emotional reactions flooded social media, with various Taehyung-related hashtags immediately entering global trends. The fact that Taehyung remained professional even though his hand looked injured at Dodgers Stadium further increased fans' respect. He did not show weakness, but instead kept smiling and completed the big moment with his distinctive charisma. However, what Jungkook showed in the live broadcast seemed to remind the public that behind the scenes, there is a human side that must not be ignored. The health and comfort of an artist who continues to work under great pressure. The emotional tension between Taehyung's professionalism and Jungkook's concern was what made the broadcast feel so dramatic. Viewers were not only presented with an intimate moment of two BTS members, but also an implicit message about solidarity, friendship, and empathy. A simple interaction managed to change the atmosphere into a deep reflection on the meaning of togetherness. In addition, this incident sparked serious discussion among ARMY about how the Korean entertainment industry often demands maximum performance from idols even when their physical condition is not fully prime. Jungkook, who showed deep concern, seemed to voice the same feeling as the fans, that Taehyung's health is far more important than a momentary performance. This small drama ultimately opened a broader space for reflection on the importance of attention to idols' well-being. However, what made this moment even more memorable was how Taehyung himself remained calm. He did not show excessive worry and instead balanced the situation with a warm smile. This contrast then made Jungkook's serious expression stand out even more. ARMY assessed that the moment presented a portrait of balance, one side trying to remain strong, while the other showed care without hesitation. In the end, this Taehyung drama on Weverse became one of the most memorable moments in BTS's latest interactions with fans. Not because of humor or gimmicks, but because of the honesty of emotions conveyed without filters. Jungkook, who openly showed his concern, and Taehyung, who remained calm even though he had experienced an injury, succeeded in creating a narrative that shook ARMY's hearts around the world. The question regarding the condition of Taehyung's hand indeed still leaves curiosity, but one thing is clear. Jungkook's sincere attention has affirmed that their brotherhood bond is stronger than mere camera spotlights. Taehyung drama that surfaced through the live broadcast on Weverse, and the incident of Taehyung's hand at Dodgers Stadium indeed managed to shake the digital public space. However, an important question that needs to be asked is, does everything we see truly reflect reality? Or is it only fragments of a narrative deliberately magnified by the dynamics of social media? Did Jungkook's deep attention to Taehyung indeed arise from emotional sincerity? Or was it merely overread by an audience already bound to the mythology of their friendship? This event seemed to present a double dilemma. On the one hand, many fans admitted to being touched and melted watching Jungkook's concern. On the other hand, there are also those who question whether all of that is nothing more than natural dramatization that is then twisted by social media to create sensation. Isn't the world of entertainment indeed full of framing, where every movement of celebrities has the potential to be interpreted wildly? If so, how can we ensure that what we see is truly fact, not illusion? The circulating sources of information are also very diverse. Short clips from TikTok, snippets of YouTube videos, posts on Twitter, to articles from entertainment news portals, all present narratives that seem certainly true. However, have we been critical enough to ask, who first framed this narrative? Is there really an official confirmation regarding the condition of Taehyung's hand? Or is everything only based on mere visual speculation, without direct clarification from the related parties? Isn't there a great possibility that we are only consuming opinions wrapped as if they were facts? Furthermore, we need to raise a provocative question. Was this moment of Jungkook's concern truly a natural event, or instead part of an invisible communication strategy? Isn't it not uncommon for small moments to be polished until they become viral in order to maintain an idol's existence in the vortex of global media? If that is true, are we as the audience merely passive objects controlled by the current of discourse? Or do we still have the critical capacity to reject such manipulation? It should be remembered that the entertainment industry, especially K-pop, is a very complex space. Behind the authentic image that is displayed, there are branding strategies, calculations of media exposure, and even narrative engineering designed in detail. Thus, when ARMY feels carried away by Jungkook's concern, shouldn't we ask, did this feeling arise from reality, or from a framing construction that was deliberately directed to evoke emotion? Are we witnessing the truth, or only a constructed reality? Some people may argue that the emotions felt by fans are real, regardless of whether the moment is factual or not. However, is it enough to stop at that answer? If we allow ourselves to be swept away without critical questions, aren't we the same as passive consumers who allow themselves to be influenced by narratives that are not necessarily accurate? Are we willing to let the information space be dominated by sensationalism without any effort to filter the truth? Therefore, it is important to place this incident as a material for collective reflection. ARMY and the wider public are invited to ask more deeply. Do we believe right away that Taehyung's hand was truly injured, or was it only a visual misunderstanding? Is Jungkook's concern truly pure, or was it an expression that happened to be captured by the camera and then overread? And furthermore, is this news, including the article you are reading now, entirely factual, or does it still contain bias from layered social media framing? Such skepticism does not mean rejecting emotion or denying the intimacy felt by fans. On the contrary, it becomes an important foundation so that we do not get trapped in the snares of false information or hoaxes that often infiltrate the flow of virality. Haven't we repeatedly seen cases where viral news turned out not to be entirely true? Then, why should we believe without verification when it comes to an issue as big as this? Thus, this event is not only about the Taehyung drama on Weverse, but also about how the public consumes information. Do we just want to be swept up in sensation? Or are we willing to play an active role in testing the validity of every circulating news? Isn't it healthier if we learn to balance emotion with critical reason? And finally, are we ready to accept the reality that not everything that appears on screen is a perfect mirror of reality? In conclusion, although the Taehyung drama on Weverse and the incident at Dodgers Stadium succeeded in drawing attention, the truth of the event still leaves a gray area. The circulating information mostly comes from social media, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and cannot necessarily be ensured for its validity without official confirmation. Therefore, we invite readers to always think critically, not swallow every emerging narrative whole, and dare to ask, is this fact or merely sensation? Is this a reflection of reality, or just a media illusion? And in the end, isn't the future of the information space dependent on how far we are able to maintain a balance between emotion, reason, and skepticism?